Potato General Manager back with another video. We have yet another 7-round mock draft, this time featuring the Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, the Eagles have been busy this offseason, most recently trading away one of their 3 first-round picks in the 2022 NFL Draft to the New Orleans Saints. Of course, they net an additional day 2 pick as well as a first-round pick next year, in which should be a very intriguing, interesting class. Not unlike this year's class, but in some different positions. I think that the quality of the player increases, so they may be targeting that year to really round out this roster. But nevertheless, we're going to get into their 2022 NFL Draft, and we're going to select for all 7 rounds here, gentlemen. So let's get it started. All right, right at the top, pretty much chalk. No huge surprise other than Kyle Hamilton, Willis, Johnson, Karlaftis, Jordan Davis. Okay, so let's take a quick peek at the first 14 picks. Anything jump out at you here? I understand, you know, how talented Kyle Hamilton is, what kind of prospect he is, but Panthers can't do it. They simply can't do it. I think the Giants would be thrilled, if not being able to get one of those top 2, perhaps, offensive tackles. Maybe you're working across here, but I don't think they're going to complain about Walker and Gardner. Your boy Stingley there for you. Headley to the Falcons. Charles Cross to the Seahawks. The Jets get their receiver and their offensive tackle. No edge, though. Malik Willis to the Commanders. Karlaftis, Jermaine Johnson, Karlaftis, Jordan Davis. Okay, so that puts us with our first of 2 first-round picks, 15th overall and 18th overall on the clock, gentlemen. And which direction do you believe this Philadelphia Eagles team needs to go in?
I believe the 3 biggest needs, corner, someone to get after the passer, whether it be from the interior or the edge, and wide receiver. You know, right now they have Devontae Smith, your boy Rager. He hasn't quite, worked out so far there in Philadelphia. I know Philadelphia likes to run the football, so maybe they go corner and edge in the first round. But you got to help Jalen Hurts out on the outside. I know you got Devontae, but he needs another receiver out there as well.
Yeah, and I would probably say receiver is probably the biggest need, just an edge too. But I would say receiver because the goal is obviously that either Hurts is going to have to show them this year that he's the man. Because they're going to have ample picks next year to go and get the guy that they actually want, because next year is supposed to be, that quarterback draft. And so whether he balls out, Hurts does, or he's a disaster, just doesn't work out, you got to have the weapons to get it to see what he can do, right? So sure. I think receiver is probably top priority from that perspective. But if they went edge because a guy is there, like a Jermaine Johnson, I ain't mad at it because they do need that. Got a bunch of guys on the D-line on 1-year deals. So you need to, obviously have that. But I think receiver, and it's close with edge, those 2 positions, I think.
You have some age there now with your Fletcher Cox and some injuries have kind of started to build up. Lack of productivity along the defensive line, but this is a defensive line, edge, interior, whatever the case might be, rich class, and of course there's going to be some really talented players coming out of next year. To your point, Drew, perhaps with this trade with New Orleans giving up their 3rd first-round pick and netting an additional first-round pick next year, they put themselves in position to be able to kind of go one of 2 ways. Jalen Hurts quits himself, well, then of course you can continue going, do what you need to do in order to outfit this roster to remain competitive, get over the hump, or be in a position to go and get one of these upper echelon quarterbacks in the 2023 class. So with that being said, considering the depth along the defensive line, the need at receiver as well as cornerback, I tend to lean in that direction. To your point, if there's a player that starts to slip, I think you can get aggressive about moving up. Of course, the tea leaves suggest Kayvon Thibodeau might slip a bit. To your point, Drew, Jermaine Johnson will be a guy that I might move up a few picks for if possible. But considering that we're sitting here at 15 and 18, let's say we're going to go receiver here. Who is the receiver? Who's the receiver that you covet here? We have Drake London, Jameson Williams, and Chris Olave, along with Treylon Burks on the board.
Drake London is my wide receiver too, behind Garrett Wilson, big body guy. Kind of looks like Mike Evans out there. Devontae's kind of the route runner. He could play inside, outside, and you add him, couple him with a Drake London. I think that's a great match right there at the wide receiver position for Philadelphia. And Jameson Williams, he's also enticing. This guy is fast. He could be a game breaker for you. So he's enticing there. He's coming off of that injury. We'll see how he progresses. But, I think Drake London is the best receiver on the board here.
Wow. Hating on Treylon Burks, bro. The hate is real.
Treylon's a baller. He's a baller in his own right.
Listen, wide receiver 1, Treylon Burks for me. Yeah, and listen, any of these receivers I would like for the Eagles. Treylon Burks with the big body, the work after catch. He's just not polished. I got into a spat in one of the I think it was I don't know, I think it was on our mock draft that we did about Treylon Burks, and he just wasn't happy with the pick, and he was saying, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and I get it. And now, word is, people calling Chris Olave soft. Any type of contact that is made pre-route, just kind of disrupts him, and he's not the same receiver. Word on the street. Jameson Williams, like you said, is coming off of that injury. Love the speed. He reminds me, he runs with violence. With the size that he is that dangerous? I don't know in terms of him getting injured. And Drake London, it's kind of hit or miss with him. You either really love him or you really hate him. And so if it's me, I'm just, wide receiver 1, Treylon Burks, bro.
Treylon Burks. How about the corners? What's the corners look like out there right now? McDuffie, Booth, Elam, McCrary.
You already know it's either McDuffie or Booth for these guys. Play heavy zone. Play opposite Darius Slay. They do need a guy on that opposite side. So
outside of Garrett Wilson, you have your pick of the receivers.
You really do?
I think most, for my money, I know Philly fan might feel differently, but for my money, Andrew Booth would be the perfect cornerback for this particular scheme. Trent McDuffie would be kind of my next option there. Actually, Roger McCreary would be my next option, then Trent McDuffie, but that's just me. But I imagine, if you want to go McDuffie or Booth, they'll be there. One of the two will be there at 18 overall. So in a pass-first league where you have to score points during the regular season, man, and that was a challenge, right? The passing game was the challenge. We're gonna get a starting caliber cornerback. We're gonna get one here. I'm not concerned about that. We really need to drill down in terms of which receiver we think is best suited to complement Devontae Smith is kind of what I'm thinking about.
Also, too, forgot to add this, is the Saints are either going quarterback, O-line, or they're going receiver.
The Saints' biggest need is a tackle, right. But they could also go wide receiver out there also.
Yeah.
So
I think you got to go receiver here to make sure you get the guy that you actually want, that you covet here, that's left on the board.
Make a case for Devontae Wyatt here. I think you could certainly make a case for that. But again, the Jalen Reagor situation hasn't panned out. I think Quez Watkins is a solid third or fourth option in the passing game behind Devontae Smith at Dallas Goedert. I want that guy opposite Devontae Smith. That's what I'm looking at this juncture.
Well, yeah. Well, I like London. Drew's in on Burks. So, you got to break the tie, man.
So the size is where you guys are kind of coming into here. Do you think is that factoring in with respect to this particular landing spot, or is it just the fact that it's the highest receiver on your respective boards?
I think both. They definitely need size out there. A lot of receivers are small. Reagor is small. Quez Watkins is small. Devontae Smith is smaller. They need a big body guy that could win above the rim. So, Drake London could do it. Treylon Burks could do it. I think those are the best fits for them. And also on our boards, London's my wide receiver 2. Burks is Drew's wide receiver 1.
Drew, where do you have Drake London ranked?
I think I moved him out of my top 5.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I fell back in love with Jahan Dotson. So I slid him right back in. You know what I mean?
Hadley, let me ask you, where do you have Treylon Burks before I make that call?
He's my wide receiver. He's my wide receiver 3. He's right behind Drake London.
Is Williams both in your top 5?
Actually, no. Let me rephrase that.
Okay.
I think Williams is number 3, and then Burks is 4.
Okay.
I think I have Williams over Burks. Yeah.
Well, we got to have a discussion about this. Drake London, bro.
What about
double check this?
What about Williams for you, Drew?
Williams is
because here's the real thought here. I think in a lot of NFL circles, Jameson Williams was considered receiver one prior to the injury. He was going to be the first receiver off the board prior to the injury. I've been Garrett Wilson from the start of the 2021 season. That's been my guy, right? But the way Jameson Williams bursts onto the scene, the rare speed and acceleration. To your point, Drew, he's not just a speedster. He makes plays at every level of the field. He plays with physicality. Man was a gunner. He was a gunner on Alabama. You know what I'm saying? And widely considered, the guy that could be the first receiver off the board. And I've mentioned it before, because of the injury, I think there's a broad range of spots he could land. I think he could be selected as early as this particular pick and as late as perhaps the 30th overall pick with the Chiefs. So if we're all in agreement that Jameson Williams is in our respective top fives, I think that's the guy we need to go with here.
Yeah. Let me rephrase that, man.
He's number 3 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I got Burks 3, Williams 4. I keep going back and forth on them, and right now I'm ending in Treylon Burks at 3, Jameson Williams at 4.
So you guys, do you think? So let me ask a different question, because you both have Treylon Burks higher than Jameson Williams. All right, you're very different feeling with respect to Drake London. So let's have the conversation regarding Williams and Burks. Do you think in this particular scheme, with we know what the physical tools Treylon Burks has. We love the film. Do you think Jameson Williams will adapt better, especially with a younger quarterback who is, he kind of needs to see it before he throws it? Isn't necessarily throwing guys open. What do you think about from that perspective? Because the question mark is Treylon Burks from a route running perspective, he wins differently, right? And I think you need to be able to harness his skill set. I love his skill set, but I think you need a coach, a scheme that's going to harness his skill set. Do you see that in Philadelphia? Does Jameson Williams have is he a better fit for what Philadelphia is trying to do?
I actually think Burks is a better fit in Philadelphia. Just that physical mentality he has. They could get him the ball short. He could run after the catch. Because, Devontae Smith, he's going to do the route running. He's going to be, intermediate, deep down the field. And I think Burks could eat up a lot of yards short to intermediate. So I actually like Burks as a better fit in Philadelphia.
I think you have to have different body types at the receiver position.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you go Jameson Williams, you don't necessarily have that with Philadelphia. Like we were talking about earlier in terms of a small. I wouldn't consider Williams small, but he ain't Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks.
No, of course.
Burks play bigger. Burks play bigger.
Yeah, you need that type of guy, because Burks can. You can, just like London, you can kind of throw it up and just have him make the contested go up and get the contested catch, right? The only thing, that I think that, well, it's more than that, but just Burks just gives you just a little bit more in terms of you can just do more with him in general. Williams,
perhaps as a ball carrier, man, but what Williams does for your entire offense is.
But it's the only thing. The only concern that I have with him is he runs with a level of violence, and I don't know that he'll sustain that through an entire season.
So you think he's going to be a chronic injury guy? I mean, that's hard to predict.
It is. But at his size, I'm just saying it. And I know that was one of the things with Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith was the same thing. It was like, hey, we don't know if he's gonna hold up. But I don't know if I want too many of those guys on my team.
Okay, fair enough.
At that position.
No, I agree. I agree, and that's why I'm leading London and Burks in this situation. And we say London's off the table. Yeah, I think Treylon Burks to pick because of the style of receiver he is.
I like London a lot.
Match with.
Just for the record, yeah. I like London a lot, but
Drew's out.
Poo-pooed the man. Drew poo-pooed the man. Okay.
No, I mean, I got more to say, but we can say that for a different time. About London. You know what I mean?
All right, so we're gonna make the pick here. The one thing I do want to mention though, in our community was faced with this question, not including London. It was actually between Jameson Williams, Chris Olave, and Treylon Burks for the Philadelphia Eagles, and in a landslide, it was Jameson Williams. But we're going to piss the Eagles fans off here. We're going to go with Treylon Burks.
Do it.
And head us down in the comment section who you would have gone with and why.
Take a look at the corner position.
I think you gotta take Andrew Booth and keep it moving.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think it's no thinking. Yeah, Andrew Booth.
I agree with that. I think people are sleeping on Andrew Booth.
Now that physicality he plays with on that defense and how he comes up.
McDuffie plays with a similar, physicality, violence as well. But Andrew Booth's traits,
and he's got the size, ball skills,
far better, and he has the best ball skills in the class as far as I'm concerned.
There's limitations with McDuffie, and with Andrew Booth, I don't think those limitations are there.
Yeah, McDuffie might have a little higher floor, coming out immediately. But
yes.
The final product of Andrew Booth is really enticing.
And I want to ask real quick to Eagles fans, your defense plays overwhelmingly zone. It's not the reason why you guys you lost. I think your offense just kind of crapped the bed. But, how do you guys feel about that defensive scheme? I just feel like just sitting back and letting things kind of happen in front of you. I think those days are over and done with, personally for me.
Yeah.
I think you got to be an attacking style, mix it up, Lego, multiple defense, and not just sit back and be predictable. But let me know down in the comment section.
No, I agree with that, man. They were second worst in sacks last season. They couldn't get after the quarterback, and they didn't, like you said, they weren't as aggressive. So I think being more aggressive, maybe drafting the stud pass rusher here in this next pick, I think that's very important for Philadelphia's defense.
Well, this is interesting. So as you can see, this is how the rest of the first round played out. We weren't aggressive in the second round because Drew was pontificating. So
my bad.
No problem.
Oh, we laid that. I missed my guy.
Boye.
Oh, I'm hurt.
I'm
running my mouth.
Ibiketti. Devin Lloyd.
Wow, he fell
to 44th overall. That comes as a surprise. Perrion Winfrey.
You should have stopped me, bro.
DeMarvin Leal. Let's take a look at what we have on the board. Let's have Logan Hall, Travis Jones, Nick Bonito, Cameron Thomas. It's a deep position, man. It really is.
Yeah, some ballers out there.
It really is a deep position.
I like Nick Bonito, man.
Kobe Dean's still on the board. I know you brought in Kazir White. Philadelphia's not big on linebackers, but he's such a good player,
No, he's going to be wasted there, bro. Don't do it.
You mean wasted there? Might actually bring some legitimacy to the second level of it.
Nah,
White
bro.
will, but
I like Chanel. Probably not with this pick, but I do like Chanel in that scheme because I know they like to put some linebackers in the A and B gap. So
sure,
I think he's made for that role.
And maybe blitz, bro.
Maybe blitz back out in the zone.
Yeah.
No, that's not how you want Chanel. You want Chanel moving forward.
I agree.
It's a very good guard right here, but I think we leaning towards Brisker out there for you as well. Leaning towards the defensive line. So who's it going to be?
Yeah, I like Bonito as an edge, but I think Logan Hall's a hell of a player also that could get after the quarterback.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Bonito. I think you got to come off the edge, and I think he's actually going to go higher than most people think.
Yeah. There you go.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
There you go. Cameron Thomas.
We might as well relax ourselves.
Chill.
Let's relax ourselves. Salyer might have been the player to move up for. But
he's gone already?
Yeah.
Oh, hurt.
All right, so with the first 3 picks for the Philadelphia Eagles, we eventually settled on Treylon Burks. We had so many options, didn't know what to do with ourselves. We picked up Andrew Booth Jr., whom I think across the board we love. I know some folks think that he may be a little bit raw, but check out the scouting report. That's what I'm going to suggest to you. Check out the scouting report. And then Nick Bonito. And by the way, guys, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you would have done with the 15th overall pick and the 18th overall pick as well. All right, gents. So we're back on the clock here. 83rd overall. This is our second third round. Actually, this is our 1 third round pick here. What position, what area do we want to address?
Could go linebacker, but sit them boys.
This would be the time for it. This would be the time for it, bro. I understand that this particular organization doesn't value that position that way, but I wouldn't be opposed to pairing Kazir White with a Troy Anderson, a Chad Muma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm liking linebacker here or D tackle, more pressure on the quarterback. And I think they also need a safety back there. I like Muma, Anderson. I think Anderson, he could fly around. He's an intriguing prospect.
You like Muma better for this game, or you like Anderson better for this game? I would lean towards Anderson more than
Anderson fly around. You know, can play the pass. I think he played the pass better than Muma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
not going forward. Not in this scheme. You're not going forward.
Yeah, I think for that very reason, I would prefer Anderson over Muma.
No, right there, 2 picks before. That would have been the pick for me.
No, I think this is a sweet spot for him, landing in New York. But I hear what you're saying, though, Headley. I hear what you're saying. I still don't think that they're going to send him, though. They're not going to send him. If you're not going to send him, I don't like it. I get it.
Yeah.
They may line up in the A gap. You know what I'm saying? Show, but it's too infrequent that they're sending those guys, that they're firing. You know, that trigger. Maybe you change. Maybe you adjust because of your personnel. But I'm okay. I can get on board with Troy Anderson here. I certainly can get on it. There's a need. Play him next to Kazir White, and I think you have a much more respectable second level of your defense now. All right, here we are. Back on the clock with our second, third round pick here. To this point, we selected Treylon Burks, Andrew Booth, Nick Bonito, Troy Anderson.
We're going to go ahead and grab Nick Cross from Maryland, versatile safety, probably a better free safety than anything else, but a guy who you can interchange within the scheme of safeties back there. And the guys that got back there don't excite me too much.
All right, so we are back on the clock now in the 4th round, 124th overall pick. Let's take a quick look at what has transpired to this point. After our 3rd round pick, our compensatory pick, looks like Samoa Pearson, good players in the middle of this draft. McKinley is a favorite of mine. Hayes, quality players. So now what is back on the clock? I imagine the thought process is to head back to the defensive line.
Ridgeway. Here, I like the value here with him. He did show some get off and some hand usage in Mobile. He kind of kept popping up for me. He's a little out of control. Needs to hone that in. I don't think he always has a plan, but I think you can. He's a guy you can develop and hone it in for him. He can be consistent from the interior of the defensive line.
Get him in there with Big Fletch. Start working on refining his
skill set,
his craft. Yep. I like that idea. Headley, where do you come out on it? I know you mentioned Tyreek Smith here.
You got Bonito already on the edge. I do like getting Ridgeway on the inside, like you said. Fletcher Cox there for another year, so kind of mold him up on the inside. We don't need production right away from Ridgeway, and he could kind of develop his skills a little more.
Sarah Munford, Caleb Evans, Braxton Jones, the Paris Senior Bowl, McCollum Senior Bowl, Lindstrom, Farrell Senior Bowl, Tito Senior Bowl, Zappe from Senior Bowl, Fat Castro Field Senior Bowl, Sidney Smith Senior Bowl, Chris Paul Senior Bowl, Tyson Anderson Senior Bowl, Justin Schaefer Senior Bowl, Waltzko, Tyreek Smith. All right, so we did miss out on Smith. D'Angelo Malone is still available. Just missed out on Tyreek Smith.
That's what we really wanted.
And the reason why you wanted it.
More physical player.
Yeah.
More physical player, edge, defending the edge, just wanted more of that because Malone and Bonito are very similar in their styles of play.
Yeah.
But we'll make it work, man. Figure it out.
Who are physical, though. I think we need guys who can get up the field, affect the passer. I'm not suggesting that Smith can't do that, but I believe Malone is more adept at it. And some of those veterans is part of this rotation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Be able to kind of hold up at the point of attack in some of those early down situations. I don't expect Malone to be an every down player out of the gate, but certainly can make a difference. Certainly can make a difference in passing situations.
Rotational player. Yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, I think the Malone could probably put on some more weight also.
Yeah, he has a frame for it.
He could grow into that. Yeah, exactly.
6'4". He has a frame for it. Long arms, 33-inch arms. We're going to be up on the clock here in just a second. What we have managed to accomplish at this point is we selected Treylon Burks and Andrew Booth in the first round, Nick Bonito, Troy Anderson on day 2, along with Nick Cross on day 2. So we addressed every level of the defense on day 2. Came back and continued to address the defense here on day 3 with John Ridgway and D'Angelo Malone. Okay. So here we are, 162, 5th round. What do you guys like here? This is a team that wants to run the football, right? Sanders and Boston Scott both in the final year of their respective deals. Kenneth Gainwell certainly is part of the mix, but he's not used as a ball carrier primarily. I think this is an area where we should prioritize it right here. I mean, quality players. This is actually a position that they may have decided to address a little bit earlier, perhaps, in the 4th round. Now that I'm looking at it a bit closer, but given what we have on the board here, where would you guys go? What direction would you guys go in? I don't think we're entering this 2020 season with a definitive, Miles Sanders is the long-term answer. He's dealt with injuries, and some inconsistency at times. So, this could very well be our starter going into 2023.
So if you're saying that, then it's either White or Ford. And I'm talking about, is it Rashad White?
Yeah.
Cook for me is a receiving back, a 3rd down back, and then Kyron Williams, he's a receiving back, period. So for me, I love White. The number one quality that he has, he's just decisive. I see hole, I'm getting down, going down hole, and he can catch out the backfield. He can play receiver. So I think you kind of get best of both worlds with him. Ford is probably, out of these top, 5 running backs, he might be the best runner. But I love White, man. I love Rashad White.
I'm with you on Rashad White. He's one of my draft crushes here. Rashad White, man. I love his elusiveness, his acceleration. I think he might be the best 2nd level running back in this class, the whole class.
Yeah, both players performed at Mobile. Looked really good. Jerome Ford actually left a little bit early because the birth of his child. So certainly a great reason to go back home. But I liked what I saw from both players, and they both have great film. I lean a little bit more towards Jerome Ford, but I don't have a problem with Rashad White. We'll take Rashad White here.
I don't know he's gonna sneak Jerome Ford in there, bro.
Had to. It's my guy. All right. And we're going to follow that up with Andrew Stuber. We believe can play both tackle and guard, another Senior Bowl participant. And, considering the all-star cast of defensive linemen, whether it be interior guys, edge guys that were there, I thought Stuber was one of the better offensive linemen in Senior Bowl in terms of his performance. So I like him with this particular pick, just to add some additional depth, particularly with Brandon Brooks moving on, deciding to retire. And then, of course, you have the Lane Johnson injury situation as well. And who knows what they're going to do with Andre Dillard. We don't have a pick for quite some time. We don't have a 6th-round pick. So let's talk a little bit about what we've done to this point.
I like everything that we've done, man. It was a big discussion about, what receiver we should go with that 15. We had a Olave on the board. We had Burks on the board. Had Drake London on the board. We had Jameson Williams on the board. And it was, deciding on going with a guy who's outside of the mold of the receivers that they already have on the roster, at least the starters, we should say, and a Treylon Burks. So we went there. We went with, arguably the best zone corner in the country, in Andrew Booth. And I know some may argue McDuffie, but hey, we went with Booth. He has all of the physical traits, and he plays zone very well. He's coming from a zone scheme in Clemson.
Let me interject real quick, Drew, with respect to the conversation regarding Booth and McDuffie. I think when you talk about players with similar skill sets, in terms of what they do in zone as far as run support and making plays outside of their immediate coverage, when you have players close like that, what you tend to do, or what I've learned, what I've adopted from a scouting principle, is to then, okay, who has the upper echelon athleticism? When it's close like Sparky. That, let's now look in terms of, okay, and I think Andrew Booth has a skill set that with more refinement he can become a very quality man cover corner as well. So I just wanted to interject that. I think when you have players that are close in terms of their grades like that, you can use. That's where you start to really use the analytics in order to kind of differentiate those players, I think.
And the other piece of that too, and obviously we don't have this insight, but is sitting down and having an interview, speaking to those guys, putting up on the whiteboard and those things. So I think those would be the two things, you know, the interview, whiteboard, as well as the measurables and the Sparky and the analytics and those things, and then you kind of make your decision when it comes to that.
Yeah, I think another big thing that separates those two prospects is Andrew Booth's ball skills.
Definitely.
You know, he gets his hands on the football. He could go up and get it. You know, McDuffie, he had no interceptions last season. Only had 2 in his career. So that's kind of a little bit of knock, you know what I'm saying, on McDuffie, the lack of ball production.
And that Jalen Ramsey?
No, Ramsey different.
I'm just saying, coming out of college, he had too many, right?
Yeah, but Ramsey different.
Okay, I'm just saying.
Different.
I'm just saying.
That's it. No further explanation necessary. Ramsey
just different. And then we went edge with Nick Bonito, who we really, really like. And I think, like I said earlier, he's going to go higher than most people think. He just has that ability to get up and around the offensive tackle or inside the offensive tackle. He has a bevy of moves, and he's quick, explosive off the line. Troy Anderson, linebacker out of Montana State. I loved watching him. He was a fun watch. You can tell he's developing into the position. He's played multiple positions for that team, including offense and defense. And I think this is a guy you don't have to rush in there. But again, with that heavy zone scheme, you want a guy who can get back, get into coverage, cover up some holes, and make plays on the football. And I think Troy Anderson brings that to you.
His offensive background lends himself to being really, you know, being a good fit as well. Understanding, you know, the curl flats and understanding the route combinations, what he's seeing in front of him as well.
And then next up, we went Nick Cross, man. I think this is
No, you went Nick Cross.
Oh my! I went rogue. Them boys went to the restroom, and I came in. I made the pick, and I went Nick Cross safety. We needed a safety. I know you wanted to go with your guy, something the third. Who was it?
McKinley.
Vernon McKinley, the third. But I went Nick Cross, the true free safety guy. I think he could probably give you a little bit more back there. I'm big on Philly. This is one of the teams where I'm big on like thinking about the scheme that they do on defense. Sure. And I just don't want to pick any old player to throw in that defense because I don't want to waste prospects' talents. So we went Nick Cross, and then Jod Ridgeway, who we saw at the Senior Bowl. Spoke about him earlier. I think he's a good inside presence. Just needs some work, some refinement. Yeah. And D'Angelo Malone, who
Senior
love
Bowl.
him.
Senior Bowl.
I think if this kid played somewhere else, for a Power 5. A true Power 5 team, I think we're talking about him going in the second round, not
day 2.
In the 5th round. You know what I'm saying? So, and then we talked about Rashad White earlier, running back. Sanders can't stay healthy. Boston Scott, 1 year left on his deal. I think White is outstanding. Headley's draft crush. Well, he's one of my draft crushes. And then we went offensive tackle with Andrew Stewart, who can play both inside and outside. We think.
All right. So Headley, what do we do here with our last pick, man? Before we wrap this all up, what do we do here in the 7th round?
What do you do in the 7th round?
So we get a
what
punter.
are you looking for in the 7th round? That's not special teams. That's not special teams, bro. We're not doing that.
Hey, we grab another receiver, man.
Okay.
Reggie Roberson Jr. Yeah, let's just grab him, man. Competition.
Roberson Jr. is the pick.
Got that speed. We know Philly like that speed.
Can he play special teams?
All right, well, we're about to find out. You're gonna have to in the 7th round.
I actually expected more of a buzz for Reggie Roberson, to be honest with you. All right, Helly, your final thoughts on our 2022 Philadelphia Eagles 7-round mock draft.
I think we nailed it, man. I think the 3 biggest positions for me coming in for the Eagles, their needs was a wide receiver, corner, and a pass rusher. We got that with the first 3 picks. Like Drew said, there's a lot of deliberation on what receiver to go. I prefer, Drake London, but, Treylon Burks can offer that same physicality on the outside to mirror with a Devontae Smith. I think Andrew Booth is, like you said, he's probably the best zone corner in the class, physical, gets his hands on the football. I think it's everything Philadelphia needs on the outside to match with Darius Slay. Nick Benito, edge guy, bends the edge, gets to the quarterback quickly. Definitely a need for Philadelphia. Troy Anderson can run all over the football field and play pass coverage. So, with a Malone and a Ridgeway. So we got Benito, Ridgeway, Malone to add to the trenches, and Troy Anderson paired with a Kaiser White. And I love Rachaad White, the running back, man. I think that he probably could start for them pretty soon. I know Miles Sanders is still over there, but I expect Rachaad White to compete with him and get some carries in that backfield. So I think overall it's a great class for Philadelphia.
Eagles fans, let us know what you think down in the comments. Be sure to like the video and subscribe. Also, before I let you guys go, check out the Andrew Booth scouting report. Again, if you're on the fence about Andrew Booth, particularly in this scheme, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. In fact, you should be thrilled about the selection as far as I'm concerned. But make sure you check out that scouting report. For Headley, Drew, this is Juice signing off.